to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks, how to get it just right. Thank you so much for joining us for another hour to spend a engaging time with our guest and our live audience so that we can continue to build a world that is centered and focused on shared prosperity to help us get things just right. Today, we are going to be talking about what is it going to take to build today with the forethought of what we need tomorrow. If we're going to build today for tomorrow, it's very much like raising children, right? You're not raising children today to have an outcome today. You're raising children today. We are raising children today so that they can become responsible, contributing adults tomorrow, and they can have a fulfilling, happy life that is contributory to society. So what does it mean and what does it take to build today for tomorrow? First thing we need to be able to do is show up authentically today. If we do not show up authentically today, nobody is going to be willing to engage with us. Therefore, we're not going to build today. Therefore, there is nothing that has been set in motion for tomorrow. How do we show up authentically today? The secret is to connect with your being. Connect with your being to purposefully channel your doing. When we each connect with who we are at the very deep level as human beings, at the deepest level of our soul is who we are, our spirit, our soul. When we connect with that true being, then everything we do comes from a real place, an authentic place. And therefore, we are able to show up authentically today. If we are just going through the motion of a transactional life, we are doing to do without showing up as who we are, then nothing we say and do is going to look real, nothing is going to look trustworthy, and therefore others can't engage with us authentically. So today, to engage with me in this conversation is Mr. Cruz Gomez, somebody I value, somebody I respect, somebody I count on while I'm in the country of Belize to bounce off my ideas and think about how we can build together today for tomorrow. Mr. Gomez, welcome to the episode.
Morning, Dr. Henry. Thanks for having me here in your program.
Good morning. Very, very good morning. Very good morning. Such a pleasure to have you. So let me take a moment and give you a brief introduction to who Mr. Gomez is and what he brings to the table. Mr. Gomez comes to us from Belize. For those of you who do not know where Belize is when you're joining us from another country, Belize is a Central American country just south of the border of Mexico. And not only is it a Central American country, it also has beautiful islands. So it is one of those Caribbean nations that has both mainland and islands, which makes it that much richer in terms of natural resources and everything that it brings to bear. And Mr. Gomez is somebody, I've known him for just under a year, but in that year, I have known him to be so committed to helping individuals and entrepreneurs and businesses show up in a way that they can contribute to society. And he helps build strong communities and strong businesses. And he does that tirelessly every day. Most of the time, he doesn't even, worry about how am I going to get paid for all of the work I'm doing. He just shows up because that's what he does, right? And he's also involved with the Football Federation of Belize to help young people and shape their future, and through sports, shape the future of Belize and put Belize on the map. So here is somebody who's already living his life in a way that everything he does today, he's focused on shaping tomorrow. He approaches his parenting skills the same way, whether it's son or daughter. He approaches his team and building his team and doing his professional job the same way. And when he's with the Football Federation of Belize, he approaches it the same way. So it is truly an honor to have him here so that he can share his wisdom and his knowledge and his approach in terms of how he wakes up every day to do this over and over and over again without getting tired, with a smile on his face. So, Mr. Gomez, let me ask you, what brought you to a point where you decided this is what you want to do, on top of everything else you do for a living?
Once again, thanks, and I want to say thanks to God, to the universe, or whatever we may consider our divine guide, to having me here, healthy, contented, among you special people, because all of us are special in one way or another. And again, thanks to you, Dr. Henry, for inviting me to participate in this show, to contribute my small green to this vibrant community, this community that is growing and making a positive change, not only in the Belize, but throughout the world. And lastly, for my family, who has been supportive in good and in bad times. My motivation is that I want to see a difference. I want to see a difference not only in me, not only in my family, but in everyone. I have come to realize that we all have potential for growth. We all have potential to be very good human beings. And that motivates me, to know that I can contribute to the development of any individual, even if it is just contributing a smile, contributing a good word. Those are the things that lets me wake up every morning, that I know that I can make someone feel special today. So those are the motivating factors that keep me going. As you mentioned earlier, it's a tedious task, working and contributing to all of this, but it is very, it gives me pleasure, and it helps me to grow as well as a human being.
And it's interesting you say that, because not many people think about, how am I showing up? And the way I show up is not only going to help me live a meaningful life and live my purpose, but it's going to allow other people to live their purpose and live it meaningfully. What can we do to help young people and help adults start thinking about everyday life in that way?
I would want to share an important quote from China's president in his 2021 speech. He said that we are not alone on the great way, and the whole world is one family. After a year of hardship, we can understand more than ever the significance of community with shared future for mankind, right? And these are very powerful words in our discussion today, because for us to grow, for us to be better, for us to contribute, I think we should have unity. We should care for others. We should share. We should be fair. We should be fair with each other. Be open to share ideas. Be open to receive, and we should have inclusiveness, regardless of our religion, regardless of our social status, regardless of our professional life. We should be inclusive, have mutual respect, and be equitable. And I think these are fundamental values for building a strong community, for building a future, a shared future for everyone, not only for me, but for everyone in that community, in the country, the world per se. And I like the quote from President Xi, because it is very touching, and he is speaking about a shared value, shared community development, and these are the things that captivates my attention. When people come out and say, "Listen, we can work as a community to develop the community." So those are the values that I think are very important for us to always bear in mind, so that then we can contribute positively to our community and to ourselves.
I love how you phrased it, and you expanded on President Xi's message here, that we need to show up with kindness and optimism and empathy. And it doesn't matter how what level of education we have. It doesn't matter what race, religion, color, gender we are. None of that really matters, but our humanity does. And that is such a powerful and yet very simple message, right? Our
Yes,
humanity matters. And as long as we show up in our humanity, everything else we can work through.
yes,
That is
because
such a beautiful way to start the morning. So as you work through your work teams and you work through your football federation teams, what are some of the roadblocks you're running into to create an environment or help people to show up that way? Because not everybody believes that, right? Some people believe that if I don't get what is mine, somebody else is going to get it. So they come from that scarcity mentality. And what you're talking about is the abundance mentality, right? The God who made all of us is going to provide for all of us. All we have to do is help each other in the process, right? So what do we tell the ones who come from that scarcity mentality? And how can we help them walk past that scarcity into abundance?
I think fear to lose what probably they believe they have, fear to lose the little that they have. I think that is a huge factor in not allowing people to accept help or to accept the unity or to accept the sharing, you know. They are afraid to collaborate. A simple example, right? We had this young player that was called to the Chicago Fire, MLS club in the US, right? Probably you are familiar with
Yes, I'm
Chicago
from
Fire.
Chicago, so yes, no Chicago Fire.
So he was invited for a tryout because he was seen in when Belize participated recently in a tournament. He was invited. Now, the federation, knowing that the young person needs assistance economically, educationally, we then decided that we will work with the player to have him to the standard that he can be accepted at MLS. However, as we started to do that, the coaches or the team where he plays here in Belize started to make noise, you know, in quotes, that why are they not being included? They are fearing that because the federation is taking the lead, then they will lose the player. But it was not so. You know, the federation was only assisting. So the fear of losing, the fear of not getting what they want, contributes to many individuals not wanting to accept unity, not wanting to accept openness, not wanting to be inclusive. I think that is one of the biggest factors in this, that the fear to lose. Nothing else but that fear.
And that is a very, very valuable point. Fear normally is what leads to anger. Fear is what normally leads to hate. Fear is what normally leads to sabotage. So fear ultimately is the root of all evil in that sense. And the fear comes from a place of the unknown. And the only way to address that fear is to bring enlightenment and bring the light. So I always tell myself, if I'm afraid of something, if I'm afraid of the dark, all I have to do is turn on the light. Whatever is creating that darkness within me that is causing that fear, then let's address the root cause of that fear so that there can be light on the subject. And then I can engage in a wholehearted way, in a holistic way. Ultimately, then, dealing with fear is about exposure, education, and enlightenment. And how do you see us doing that across the country of Belize and other developing nations that don't have the resources of a developed nation, but we still have the manpower, we have the willingness, and we have the capacity of our humanity? How do you see us doing that, Mr. Gomez? One person, one community at a time.
Advocate collaboration. You know, with collaboration, we can strengthen the factors mentioned earlier, you know, caring, of equity. It will collaborate sustainability. You know, I have this this belief that we should teach a person to feed himself, you know, and create a long-standing mental and economic independence. I think that is important for us to try to advocate that collaboration and change the mindset of all the individuals. You know, Belize is very unique. You know, we have, you know, sometimes some people say that we might have the crab mentality. As you see someone trying to climb, then we try to bring them down. You know, that crab mentality. So we need to change that. And once we change that, and have people feel that there is something for them as well. Many people believe that because they are not leading or because they are not the persons that are at the forefront, they believe that they are not getting anything for this. And we need to find a way to tell the people, listen, we are here to help you. We are here not to gain personally, but for you to become a better person, for you to accomplish your goals, whatever your goals may be, economic, mental, professional. If you want, in the sporting world, if you want your club to move further, then you know we need to seek that assistance. If I contribute to we have a Mexican, right? A Mexican person that contacted me to help Belize in football. He comes with a lot of experience, a lot of contacts. But because again, the mentality that we have, that the little that we have, we might lose it if we share it with someone else, then deprives us of seeking that assistance. And the guy is, I mean, he can contribute, in my opinion, he can contribute a lot. But because we have this mentality, oh, he is coming with a different mentality, he will disrupt what we believe, he will disrupt what we are doing. But we should be open to change. Right? We should be open to change, and then from there we can see a difference. And I think that is where we need to do collaborate for change, advocate collaboration for change, for sharing, for caring, for equity, and that will promote everything else that we want.
Absolutely. And the sharing and caring and working together for change is truly what COVID has reminded us. A little virus, a virus is nothing but a protein cell covered in fat. It doesn't even have a real life, right? And a little cell floating around, jumping from person to person, has taught us, the entire international global humanity, a very valuable lesson. None of us are safe until the last one of us are safe. None of us are going to be healthy and happy until the least of us are safe and happy. And that's why President Xi's message resonates for you, right, Mr. Gomez? We are in this together. And if one of us are not taken care of, then we're all going to suffer the consequences of that choice of leaving somebody behind. And as we start thinking about collaboration, sometimes in order to help people understand the value of collaboration, we are going to have to continue to give and pour into a community until they begin to trust, because they're going to start with distrust. There are two kinds of people, right? Some are willing to walk up and say, you know what, here is a goodwill capital I'm going to give you, and let's figure out how to work together. But if you squander it away, there will be no more collaboration and progress. That is somebody who has faith, somebody who has trust, somebody who sees their glass half full, willing to start with optimism. Then there is another group of people who believe that you need to prove to me I can trust you before I can work with you. And that comes from a glass half empty perspective, because in the past, other people have betrayed me. Therefore, I'm going to assume you too are going to betray me. Right? So sins of somebody else is visiting this presence right now. So in society, we have people on both extremes and everybody in the middle. And as a Goldilocks community, as part of the Goldilocks conversation, how do we find that right balance? How do we come with optimism and be prepared for somebody disappointing us and knowing how to salvage the situation? And that's the trick. But that also is possible only through collaboration. So any stories or examples you can share about that based on your experience?
Again, when you said just now about giving, one of the basic laws of the universe, one of the basic laws is to give and you shall receive, whatever it may be, whatever we may give our time, we may give our a monetary contribution, but it is important for us to give, and for us that are familiar with the Bible or one or two times might look at the Bible, in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7 says that God loves a cheerful giver, so if we promote that giving mentality, we will receive, we will receive. I always, I have in this giving, I always remember my father that, is in a better place resting, I always remember that whenever he used to finish his day's sale, he used to sit down and separate his funds. And he would always leave a percentage for his donation to his church, right? And by doing so, I believe that my father or my family had a very stable family. He had good health. And even though that he passed away because of cancer, he did not suffer as what this deadly disease sometimes have people suffering, and I think that he contributing in that way assisted him, to have these blessings, not only him, but as well as his family. So these are the things that I think we should always remember, if we give willingly, if we give without any expectation, we might not see the benefits personally, but your family will see it. I am always glad that my contribution, I might not see it, but I can see that my daughter is happy, she's doing well. I can see that my son is healthy, doing well. And I do strongly believe that it is because of my giving, and again, as I said, it doesn't have to be monetary. Of course, we have people that are very prosperous in life, that are super rich, like the Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, but these people are cheerful givers. They give to their charity, they give to their church, and look how they are blessed. They might be blessed differently than I am blessed, but we are all blessed because of our giving. So I encourage everyone to always be a cheerful giver, regardless of the circumstances.
And I second that very much. Bill Gates actually shares this story when he speaks about these kind of issues. When he was building his business and when he was a nobody, there was this guy, a street vendor, who would give him stuff. And when he made it and he became Bill Gates of today, he sought out that man and did something very, very special and meaningful for that man. And then he said, I wanted to make sure I share my gratitude for everything you gave me and everything you did for me. And this is me giving back to you. And he says, the guy who helped him looked at him and said, it's not the same. I gave you when I had nothing. When I had nothing, I took what I had and gave you. You're giving me when you already have everything. I appreciate what you're doing, but I want you to know that it is not the same. Giving when you have nothing is far more powerful than giving after you make it, right? So he takes that lesson with him. He talks about it to his investors. He talks about it to his team. And it is actually a lesson he tries to instill in everybody. And Warren Buffett is the same way. I've worked for Warren Buffett, and his message is treat people right. Treat people with dignity and treat people right, and build a kind of an organization where people look out for one another, because how we treat each other is how our brand is going to be. And if our brand is trustworthy, that's because we trust each other. People who don't trust each other cannot build an organization that trusts one another. And if we can't trust our team, why should our customers trust us? right? Because
Right.
we can't give what we don't have.
Yeah.
And so what you just said is so powerful. And you named these two gentlemen by name. So I wanted to make sure I circle back and wrap this story that Bill Gates himself says. And Warren Buffett and Bill Gates go out to breakfast all the time. And Warren Buffett uses McDonald's coupons, and they both sit at McDonald's and eat using coupons. Because they don't believe just because they have the money, they splurge it. They live frugally so that they can give. And so you're right. We have to find ways to give, and we have to draw from our faith, draw from our teachings, because regardless of our faith, they're all saying the same thing. It's amazing you quoted Corinthian, because passage of Corinthian was part of our wedding prayer. My husband is Christian, I'm Hindu, so we did weddings on both sides. So we're married to each other twice without a divorce in the middle. We jokingly talk about it. And so Corinthian is so powerful, and I don't have to be Christian to see the value of it. And the same way, somebody else reading my scriptures, they're going to say, oh my God, they're all saying the same thing. Ultimately, they're all teaching us to be better human beings. So with that wisdom that you have shared, Mr. Gomez, I want to open this up to questions and thoughts from the live audience. Go ahead, Precious.
I thought you might have said that. Good morning, everyone. It's morning where I am. I just thought your last point was so poignant when you mentioned that the scriptures are saying the same thing. When we're learning how to support one another and care for one another, it can be said in different languages, different wording, but the message is shared. And when we recognize that and respect that, I mean, it just enhances what you said earlier, Mr. Gamis, as far as we're part, the world is one human family. And so that is something that we can't stress enough, because not enough of us acknowledge it. And sometimes in powerful places, and even in less so, but it's so important that we recognize that. And I just want to say I appreciate that perspective that both of you have shared.
Thank you, Precious. We appreciate you coming and talking about how it resonated with you. Thank you. Gigi, go ahead, Mr. Gomez.
If I can just mention in the book, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, right? The rich dad says that even though he may have not have the funds, he has actually tried to find ways to give, right? Because he believed that by giving, he was a believer that by giving, he would receive and his business would have prospered. And so even, and it's something that we should try to practice. You know, one of the things that I do, you know, whenever I, and reading the book then changed my mentality, because many times we give, like you mentioned with Bill Gates, when we have, you know, it is then when we say, all right, I have an extra, so I will give, you know. But reading that book, then I said, we should always make an effort to, even if we don't have, to give, you know. So that I just wanted to share that as well. When it comes to giving.
And so, Mr. Gomez, as you say that, it reminds me of my friend here in Belize, Gloria, Gigi's mom. She always says fair exchange is no robbery. And we always joke about it, because ultimately it doesn't matter what we're exchanging. It can be love, it can be support, it can be just our basic humanity. And each person shares what they can and what they have. And who are we to put a value on it? And as long as we are sharing and we're lifting each other up, that's all that matters. And that's all it takes to build something. So Robin, I know you have a question. Go ahead.
Okay, let me get my face turned on here. I'm on my phone today, so there we go. Thank you so much for sharing. It's really great to hear your comments and your inspiration. And I was going to ask if you, when you work with youth, or I suppose this could even apply to adults, given today's topic, how do you help them take the long view in their decisions, in their actions, you know, as opposed to what is going to make me feel good today or tomorrow? What would be a better course of action that will have better outcomes down the road? maybe giving up something today to have better outcomes down the road? Is there some thoughts you have working, like if you work with youth or even with adults, taking how to take the long view?
What had happened when I became president of the Football Federation, we were more focused on the sporting aspect. But presently, what we are doing, we are trying to incorporate other than just the sporting. We are trying to introduce self-development. You know, we actually invited Dr. Henry to give a presentation to our national female team, and to some coaches, because we want to incorporate that for future development. You know, because yes, sports is good, but after sport, what will happen? You know, so we are trying to promote this self-development aspect in the sport as well. Many of the kids or many of the young adults come from dysfunctional families. You know, a lot of those kids come from there, and we see a need that these people, that they need to try to come out of that. You know, and the only way for us to do that is to constantly have conversations with them, constantly tell them that they can reach wherever they want to go. And right now, what we are presently doing is working with US universities to try to see if we can have some of these kids incorporated in some of those universities, because they are talented, but they have not ever gotten the opportunity. So we are opening the doors for them to have that opportunity, you know, and we thank everybody that has been contributing to that, you know, and Dr. Cass is one of the persons that is helping us change towards that direction.
Wonderful. That's
so
great.
much.
I love what you said, that sports are great. And then after sports, then what do you do to have them look down the road a bit? That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for that amazing question, Robin, and love how you phrase it and how you actually integrate that into what you're actually doing as part of the Football Federation. Now, when I was growing up in a different developing nation, a poor nation, one of the things they did for us consciously is taught all of us kids to play chess. Because chess is a game that is about strategy. And even in business today, it's valuable to teach adults to play chess, because we all start with a set of pieces. And as the game proceeds, we have to make choices of what are we going to give up in order to ultimately protect the king, right? So once the king is gone, the game is over. And that's how the game is set up. And so it teaches us for life. Real life is actually three-dimensional chess. And through the game of chess, there's actually a TV show. The show's name escapes my mind right now, but there is actually a multi-part TV show that talks about, I think Gigi might know, I'll wait for her to come on and remind me the name. But it actually talks about how chess is parallel to life. And it takes this young American woman through a journey of playing professional chess. And when she goes to the tournament, international tournament, and loses to the Russians, one of the things she learns is when the Russian players play, they practice so that when the last person is standing, they work all night to train the last person from Russia to play. Because if they all work together to make this person better than they were yesterday, then Russia wins, right?
It's actually called the Queen's Gambit.
Thank you, Gigi. Queen's Gambit. So this young lady learns this lesson from the Russians, then comes back to her American team, and then teaches it to them, saying it doesn't matter which one of us go, we are going to apply the same strategy, and she ends up winning. Okay, so life is about taking that gamble. Life is about making sure it doesn't matter which one of us win. When one of us win, we all win, because we were all there for the journey. And when one person makes it, they're going to lift each other up. India is a country that does this beautifully. An entire generation sacrificed for the modern generation to be tech savvy. India bypassed the industrial era. They went from an agricultural economy to a tech economy. They shut down their economy. They made everything in-house, didn't do any imports. and they got their country ready for technology and exports, and only then opened their country. So when Pichai became the head of Google, the headlines in the Indian newspaper is the investment of an entire generation pays off. Think about the power of a country, an entire generation investing so that the next generation is going to get at the top. Look at every single tech company in the United States before and right now, and see who's heading it up. It's somebody from the nation of India. And that is an interesting perspective, because India used to be what you're talking about in terms of where Belize is today, right? But there is a way to overcome it, provided we all are willing to come to the table. And I come from one of those poor countries that is afraid that if somebody succeeds, I'm going to be left behind. Thank you. So any other thoughts as we think about getting additional insights from Mr. Gomez? So let me ask you a question, Mr. Gomez. As you continue to do what you do and invest in a way that you're helping Belize build, how does it make you feel? How is it transforming you?
It makes me feel great. I mean, it is a feeling that no one can take away from you. You know, I mean, you might have material things that, you know, you can lose it today, you can lose it tomorrow, but this feeling of sharing, no one can take from you, you know, because you have that inner feeling that you are doing something that will help someone in the future, that will help someone to become better. So that feeling is just marvelous, and I would encourage people to do it and see what is the feeling, you know, and it is something I can call something addictive, you know, because if I don't do something positive, or if I don't do something that I see might help someone, then I feel that I have not contributing anything, you know. Recently I had my pet sick, right? And for 2 days, you know, and I am considering, should I take him to the vet? Should I do this? And that guilt feeling of not doing something for the pet was killing me in a way, you know. So I decided, hey, let's go to the vet, because if something should have happened to the dog, then I would have felt bad. And it is relating it to humans, it would be the same. If I know that I can assist, if I know that I can contribute for these people, for this person to feel good, this community to be better, then I think that it gives me that good, excellent feeling of contributing, you know. So it's a feeling that very strange to explain, but it's a great feeling.
Absolutely, absolutely. And similar to you, I always ask a question of myself every night before I go to bed. Have I made a difference in somebody's life who's not my family? And the way I look at it is, if I haven't, then today I have just taken up space and been selfish. And so I'm continuously looking for ways, how can I make a difference in somebody's life, no matter how small it is? And sometimes all it takes is look a person in the eye and smile and make sure their day is good. It's just as simple as that, because a smile is contagious, and that smile can trigger a lot of positive things in that person's life. Or giving a person a hug and telling them how much you care about them, because that's going to lift them up and make the rest of their day better.
Right. What I always say is for us to have a positive impact in our community, you know, we should try to be leaders in our community, you know, maybe initiate new ideas. And here is probably I might be failing within my community. You know, I live in Santiago Juan area of the Cayo district here in Belize for approximately 15 years. But I don't know my community as how I should know it, you know. And speaking to you regularly, then I said, listen, I need to come out in my community and see how I can help, you know. Help in a park, help maybe a family that is struggling, because COVID has put us in a situation that many families are struggling. How can we help? you know, how can we contribute something for the community, you know, and those are, I think, that positive ways in which we can also assist in our community. And it can be contagious. If I started, probably we'll have other people come along, you know, and so I think we should have that invite. And me personally think to start to incorporate something of that in my daily life, you know.
And very well said. And we want goodness and caring to be contagious, right? And we need to make sure young people are part of this. So Gigi, I'm going to put you on the spot. You're the representative of young people here in our conversation today. How do you think young people can help change the tide and come out of what's best for me to what can I do to be best for the community?
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like it starts at home. It starts with how the family raises you, how they show you how the world is. Because my dad was very much a very giving, caring, kind person. And you always want to mirror what you see, right? So like in my end, like I always try to be very nice to people. Like for example, where I live, there's like a gas station right in front of it. And I know the security guard like works crazy hours. And it was like, this is probably like the third Christmas. I know he always works either Christmas or he works either New Year's. And no one wants to be working and being, you know, so many hours just sitting there, not talking to anyone and what's not. I always make sure that he gets his Christmas dinner or his Christmas lunch. And that makes him the happiest. Or it would be like the random days I would have extra pancakes. Oh, it doesn't hurt to like just pack it up and walk over there and give him. And in return, I get my blessings because he's like, God bless you. You're so kind. I appreciate you. So it's like the little things, as Mr. Gana says, the little things that makes a difference in somebody's life. So basically, as I said, it's all about like upbringing, I guess. But also it takes the person to want to, in a sense, change. Even if they're not used to being a nice person or used to being kind to people, I feel like it's up to the person to want that change as well, you know?
Very much so. And thank you for sharing that, Gigi. Yes, when your mom and dad are modeling the right behavior, then it becomes natural for the child, right? And you see that in your own life, Mr. Gomez. I know your daughter, I know the young lady she is, and she is a result of what she's been watching as she grows up. Same way with you, Gigi. I have never met your dad, but I've met your mom, and you are being raised by two adults who have modeled that behavior, and now you are modeling that behavior for your own daughter. And so it's the lived experience we create that is so important, the lived experience that we're all the same. We all bleed red, right? And when somebody beats us up, we're all gonna cry. Our tears are the same, our blood is the same. Deep down, beyond the skin and the outer packing, we are the same. Go ahead, Gigi.
So I know you just mentioned my daughter. So I just want to share with her, I make sure that whenever we pass a random stranger, I'll say, let's give the time of the day, good morning, good afternoon, or hi. And I realized that now that she's 2 years old, so she's trying to like talk now. When she sees people that she doesn't even know, she says hi. She smiles, she says hi. And that always makes me feel good because I'd be like, you know what, like she's not gonna be the shy type. She's gonna be the type that she's very mannerly and she's very friendly, and that's what I want her to continue growing up and be, you know. So it's true what you said, like she's looking at me. She's trying to like see what I do and how she could do it. So
absolutely. Yeah. And you are modeling her for her what it is to be a responsible human being in society, right? And she's a little human being, but she is a human being and full of life and spunk she is. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a role model when every parent is a role model, and we are all role models for children in our communities, then the community thrives. So as we bring this to a close, Mr. Gomez, what is one word of advice, one nugget of wisdom you have. And before I bring you on, I'm going to have Mr. Panton from the Optimist Club share his thought quickly. Go ahead, Mr. Panton.
Thank you very much, Dr. Castro. You guys hearing me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm on the road to Orange Walk and the internet is very unstable. I had to let you guys know I'm actually going to a game that my niece is playing. She's into football, and the Football Federation is hosting a soccer game in Orange Walk. So we're driving all the way to Orange Walk just to support her. So I was weighing my mind, should I stay home and catch the session, or should I go to Orange Walk and support my little niece in the football game? And I said I'll try to do both. But unfortunately, the internet is a bit unstable, so I've been going in and out. I'll make it very fast because thank you, Mr. Gomez, for the very relatable conversation. Dr. Cass, you asked a question earlier, how do we engage the younger generation to be a part? And I think it's very important to understand what they are interested in. You know, they only can come to the table if we understand what they want. We can't force them to become something that they don't want to become. And it's very important as adults to understand that. Once we are engaging our youths, and with that, they will definitely come to the table. Each contribution is a positive contribution and a big contribution towards the entire pie. And as small as the contribution may be, it's still a factor. So I just wanted to share that. You know, we have to engage our youth, and even the ones who are influencers, who's probably at the helm as the popular one in the group. You know, they are influencers to the other kids that wants to be like them. So we have to engage our youths. We have to understand, you know, what it is they like and what it is dislike. And once we get to understand that, then we can more have a conversation with them and bring them to the table. Sorry I missed the session last week, Precious. It was very good as well. I went over it and I learned a lot from it. Like you said, bringing the truth is very important. You know, you have to know your truth. You have to know where you're from, your history, to understand how to move forward. One last thing, Dr. Katz, I think I know Gigi Godfrey. I used to work at RFG Insurance for almost 10 years, and I do believe Gigi was working with Abel Simpson when I was there. Gigi, is that right? Hello.
Hi, Mr. Pantoni. Yes, I'm on my own now, so I'm my own agent now for RFG. Yeah.
Awesome, that's nice. I didn't get to meet
What a
you
small world. What a small world.
I think I was on my way out. Yeah. But
yes, you
thanks,
had just
guys.
stopped working.
Yes. Thanks, guys. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in before the session wraps up. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Panton. We appreciate you and thank you for your thoughts. Yes, sure. Mr. Gomez, share what wisdom insights you have for us as we wrap up. Just take a minute and help us take that into the week.
I want to thank Mr. Panton to bring it to our drag to see the games. You know, the Federation is having what we call the elite tournament, you know, so nice to have him there to visit and see the girls. He took actually something from my that I was going to mention. You know, we need to identify shared goals. That is the only way that we would be able to have influence and influence change, and so that we can progress and develop, you know. So that is one of the you know, as he said, you know, identify the shared goals so that we can contribute, you know, identify needs, you know, the needs that discover what the individual or the community needs. By doing so, we will be able to share that development, you know, so identifying those needs and work towards a culture of collaboration, you know, for ourselves, for our community. And to close off, you know, my family, just before COVID or a year before COVID, we decided that we would work as a family to collaborate in the development of each of our families, you know. So, for example, if I had a construction going on today, or if my property needed some work, my entire family will come together this month and we will, you know, work together to help me in my construction or to help me with whatever I was doing. the following month we will visit another brother or another sister and do the same. So that culture of collaboration, and it was something that was working. So I know that a couple years ago, some years ago, you know, the community used to come together to help. You know, if someone was building a house, the community will come, the men will help build, the women will cook, you know, come together. So I think these three things, along with mentoring efforts for our kids, you know, for our families, I think those would go a long way for a community that we want, for a prosperous community. And if we can put all of these together, put our minds together, I think we can move along. You know, we have the Optimist Club that we can come together, my idea, your idea, and everyone, and then we can just push our community forward.
And that was a beautiful way to tie all the elements together, Mr. Gomez. It has been such an honor and a pleasure. I am personally a fan of everything you're doing in the community. It has been a blessing to start the week with you here. And the biggest blessing is to have our live audience and our community with us to week after week engage in these conversations so that we truly invest today for our shared tomorrows. Thank you so much for taking this journey with us. Any questions, information, topics, suggestions that you have, please feel free to email us at cass@casshenry.com. And please subscribe and follow our YouTube channel where you can go and catch all the old episodes and be aware of the new ones being posted so that you can watch and take nuggets of wisdom from years to come. So thank you so much. And as you go into the week and the weekend, take with you the knowledge that every human interaction is our opportunity for transformation. So go out there and meet people and transform lives. And in the process, please be sure to transform yourself. And as we bring this to a close, I want to be able to thank you all and wish you a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and stay blessed and start collaborating and start building for a better tomorrow today in your own communities.